The Washington Post put out an article that says Democrats are freaking out over a potential Mamdani win. Nicole Malliotakis is a Republican from New York and joins me now. Congresswoman, I haven't seen any really senior Democrats publicly oppose Mamdani. Are they afraid of him?
They're absolutely afraid of him. They're afraid of their shadow, Stuart. You know that. They're so afraid of being primaried by the radical left, by people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And this is why we have this problem in New York, because the Democrats won't fight for their party. They will not push back on this radical left element that wants to implement socialism and some even communism. They just want to go along to get along for self-preservation.
What a lot of people are not focusing on is that Mamdani, even if he's elected, a lot of his policy just can't get through. He can't get taxes raised on corporations and on individuals. He can't do that. I'm not so sure he can really give free buses away. I don't think he can do that. So he's very limited from what he can actually do, isn't he?
Yeah, look, he's living in a little bit of a fantasy land, and I think that's what you would expect from a 34-year-old who has never really had a position of any type of experience. And that is what my message is for your viewers today. Do we really want someone with no experience? He was a hip-hop artist before entering politics just a few years ago. He's only been a citizen of the United States for 7 years. He does not have the experience. Do we really want somebody like this? God forbid there's a terrorist attack, a pandemic, another hurricane. Today's the anniversary of Hurricane Sandy that devastated my district. Do we want somebody like that in charge? I think the answer is no. And that's why you're seeing people rush to the polls and turn out as higher than expected. I know this entire time you've been saying that Mamdani's going to win. I'm still not convinced. I still think that there are more people coming out to vote for Curtis Sliwa or Andrew Cuomo, for that matter. And I think as long as they come out to vote and they're not voting for Mamdani, that's a good thing, and New York will be a winner in the end. I
would like to tell you, Congresswoman, that I hope I'm wrong. I sincerely hope that I am wrong.
You're not wrong often, Stuart, but I hope you're wrong this time.
You're very kind. You know, flattery is really good for me. Okay, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu, he has ordered immediate and powerful strikes in Gaza. Here's what President Trump said about that. Roll it.
Nothing's going to jeopardize. You have to understand, Hamas is a very small part of peace in the Middle East, and they have to behave. They're on the rough side, but they said they would be good, and if they're good, they're going to be happy, and if they're not good, they're going to be terminated. Their lives will be terminated, and they understand that.
Congresswoman, you're on the Israel caucus. Do you approve of Netanyahu opening up the firing again?
I think Israel had absolutely no choice in this matter because they were attacked. Their soldiers were killed by Hamas. Hamas is the one who broke the ceasefire here, killing two IDF soldiers and one reserve. And so what I will say is that hopefully we will see Hamas backtracking here. They were also successful, Israel, in attacking some of the infrastructure, and they're targeting some of the leadership of Hamas. And we'll see. But President Trump is absolutely right. We could do this the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. The easy way is everybody to adhere to the terms of the ceasefire and stop the fighting, or they're going to have to go in there and take out Hamas in a military fashion. So that's the choice before them, and it truly is up to Hamas what they want.
I wonder what Mamdani's got to say about this too. Congresswoman, thanks very much for joining us. Always a pleasure. See you again real soon.